Hi everyone, Cecilia here. Today I've invited the new ISSIP Ambassador, Frank Melis. Thank you for joining us, Frank, today. Could you introduce yourself to the ISSIP community?
Yeah, with pleasure. Well, thanks for having me, Cecilia. My name is Frank Melis. I'm from the Netherlands. I am living here with my family, and the company that we are running is a company by the name of SMRT.BIO, where we are focusing on developing people and economies at scale and speed, especially for the transformation of the economy towards green, digitalization, and inclusion. We developed a platform based on artificial intelligence to allow people to profile themselves based on a set of serious games. So we allow people to define their passion, their strengths, their skills. And based on those profiles, we feed that into artificial intelligence, and we match the people automatically with 3 exits. One is, do you have the right profile potentially to become an entrepreneur? The second one is, do we recognize potential skills gap in your profile? And the third one is, can we match you directly with potential jobs that could fit your profile?
Very interesting. Love that.
In essence, it's rather the message is rather simple. Yeah.
What is the accuracy of the model though? Because like they get the old, 3 different profiles, right? What's the accuracy rate of the model, if you have it?
Well, the aggregated result is that in essence you are building up your smart biography. So it is a CV-based platform. Yeah. But we don't do that much paper-based work, although there will be an announcement in the fall of this year that based on our platform, we can generate a traditional CV so that you can use it on other job boards, for example.
What is the then business model? Like, how do you generate the revenue by offering the services?
Yeah, important question. We are selling, in essence, licenses to employers, educational institutions and regions, so public sector. We sell licenses to get access to microdata, especially of relevance for regions to understand what skills do I have within my region, and do those skill sets help me to develop my region in a certain direction. That is a very important topic, what we recognize in the market. The second thing is that we sell licenses to employers for appraisal, mainly, so that employers on a constant basis can invite their staff to improve themselves and to become more productive. And finally, we also sell licenses to educational institutions to upload their catalogs into our platform, where our AI platform is generating the tags so that we can match relevant learning items for an individual.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
why is it interesting for you?
Yeah, I'm very interested to, like somebody working at the intersection of academia and industry. I think that would be very valuable, especially for curriculum design as well, especially academics working in, the because when they have to design the curriculum for their students, that kind of information would be very useful because they can tailor that to the majority of the students coming into the institution and they enroll in a specific module, right? So I think that's really interesting. So are you currently working with the clients all over the world or mainly in the Netherlands?
No, we are focusing mainly on Europe and Africa for the moment, a little bit on the Middle East.
That's so cool.
And we get more and more attention from North America, so Canada and US. But we don't have projects running in North America yet. But the focus for the moment is EU 27 plus the rest of Europe and Africa. That
Oh,
is
wow.
right now. Yeah. So we have our offices here in the Netherlands. That is where we do, in essence, software development. We do product development out of Berlin. We have an AI shop located in Zurich, in Switzerland.
Sure.
We have our own offices in Joburg for the African market.
That's amazing. I mean, like, I mean, when you mentioned about the Europe versus Africa, because these are two different markets, right? In terms of maturity as well, like digital literacy and access to digital technologies and etc. Is there, in terms of the user needs, the customer needs for that kind of solutions that you've mentioned, is there a significant difference between the European clients versus your African clients, or are they about the same? Because obviously they're all like enterprise or institutional clients, right? Rather than consumers per se.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting question, Cecilia. Of course, there are major differences between Africa and Europe, but when you talk with a person in Africa, they have the same needs as we all have. We all want to make a decent income. The big problem is right now, and I'm sharing you some figures from South Africa. About 70%, 70, of all of the youngsters under 30 have no work. I repeat, 70% of all of the youngsters.
Yeah, that's a very surprising figure. Yeah.
Yeah, 90% of all of the youngsters leaving university are leaving university without a job contract.
Oh, wow.
90%.
Hmm.
So coming in from that perspective, the question is not that much. Can we match the people with work? Because there is no work.
Right.
So what makes more sense is to match people with potentially, do you have a profile to become an entrepreneur? Because jobs don't fall from the blue sky. They are being created by entrepreneurs.
Right.
So as soon as we would be able to detect a potential entrepreneur, the platform is helping that entrepreneur to articulate his, her business plan or business model canvas as quickly as possible, so that they can move forward, search for financing also through our platform, and implement the project, implement their business, start creating new jobs, because that is what is needed in Africa.
Yeah, makes
Now,
sense.
following the same logic, when you are living, for example, in the region where I'm living here in the Netherlands, in Eindhoven region, or what the region prefers to say, Brainport. The Netherlands has Seaport, Rotterdam, and Airport, Amsterdam. I think you're coming to the Netherlands next week. And we also have Brainport. Well, this is the area where most of the IP of the patents are being filed worldwide per capita. Yeah. The interesting thing is, do we need to match people with work? The answer is no, because we are below the 3% friction unemployment level. Yeah. So this is very healthy from an economic perspective. Yeah. But when you take a look at the economy in itself, it's all focused on microelectronics. And what the region wants to do is to develop itself in a direction to make a sustainable ecosystem. And sustainability is not only being delivered by only focusing on microelectronics, but it is creating new initiatives, for example, around batteries, around photonics, around logistics. So suddenly there is a need for new initiatives in other domains to make the economy sustainable. And when you dive into that logic, the essence is it is exactly the same as what's happening in Africa. So from a platform perspective, there is a lot we can learn from each other coming in from different perspectives. Yeah.
I love that. I mean,
Does
Frank,
that make sense?
completely, because that reminds me of from a, academic point of view, if I put the hat on academics hat, I would say, we talk about a lot of actors in the service system, like we talk about it from a service science and then also the service dominology perspective that
Yeah.
so many actors within a, service system, they interact with one another to co-create value. And then I think that's what you've just mentioned, at the foundational level from a platform perspective, essentially it's the same value co-creation, right, between the
Yeah.
actors. And
Yeah.
then what we're trying to achieve is a value outcome out of that, right? Can we reach there? Value
Exactly.
outcome is eventually the sustainability of the system, the economic sustainability, right? And then the benefits to the humanity in both countries. I mean, like in Europe as well as in Africa. So at the foundational level, it's the same, but then probably, on a surface level, there might be some variations, or it might be seen as there is a variations in terms of the customer needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's exactly the point. So, and when we take a look at Europe from an American perspective, it's easy to say Europe, but when you live in Europe, you know there are differences between Northwest, the South, Central Europe, Eastern Europe. There are huge differences.
Absolutely, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so
Uh,
what have we done, Cecilia? That is the following. We created a model that we call hyper execution. So very fast, go into a region with the goal to create new jobs and transform the economy towards green digitalization and inclusion. And that model is called TIME.
mm,
That's the acronym for Talent Implementation Model Entrepreneurs.
okay.
TIME. Yeah. And what we do is the following. We walk into a university and we invite all of the students of the university to jump on our platform. Why do we do it? Because many youngsters don't like to write CVs. Many people, including students, and let me talk for myself, including myself, I don't know what my skill set is. I
Mm,
can share you a few, but when you know that the total skill library that we are using here in Europe is 14,000 different skills, I have no clue how many skills I have.
mm,
So what we do is through our platform, we allow people through serious games to profile themselves again in terms of passion, strengths, and skills, to define those skills they have and to be matched with work. And as soon as you are starting to work at a university, sorry, you're starting to work with an employer, then the employer can say, Cecilia, on communication, you're doing very well, but there is on, for example, project management, something that needs to be improved. Then it is not only saying you're bad. No, the question is through the platform, how can we help Cecilia as quickly as possible to find the right courses to help you to get at the right level? Yeah. Don't search. We will do that, or the platform will do that on your behalf. So we call that personal learning advice through AI. That is in essence what we are doing. So on average per university is 25,000 students, and we allow the students to invite a minimum of 5 people from their local communities. And we
that's
give them
mm,
2 years to invite 5 people. I'm laughing because it doesn't take 2 years. So
mm,
our projects normally end up with around 150,000 users per region.
per region, yeah.
That's important
Mm,
because economic development is not done at at national level anymore. It is done on a region by region by region basis.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
And sharing you some figures. In Europe alone, we have 1166 economic regions. So
yeah.
how can we roll out our model to 1166 regions by reaching out to the education institutions, implement it with the students, they implement it within their local communities. That is feeding back content and volume into the AI platform that we have. And then you get the self-playing piano.
Yeah, virtuous cycle, right? So that the more the data, the model becomes a way more accurate, so and reliable too. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's how it
amazing.
works.
Cool. Just conscious of our time, I just want to move on to the next question because I would love to learn more about your motivation for becoming an ISSIP ambassador. How did you learn about ISSIP, and why did you decide to become an ambassador for this community?
Yeah, this goes back to 2020, I think, when I first met with Yassi. She was the director at that time of ISSIP. I invited Yassi to be one of the invitees within our podcast that we were running at that time. And then we started to talk. And by accident, I learned there was a possibility to present SMRT.BIO to ISSIP to become for an award on service innovation. And we won the Service Innovation Award back in 2022. And I kept on talking with Yassi, but also with Jim Spoor. And well, you know Jim.
Yeah, everyone
And
knows, like, I mean, yeah, Jim, right? Jim is kind of like, the service
yeah,
father, so.
yeah, I think so. And Jim and I share the same background, also working for IBM in the past. And then Jim said, "Well, Frank, but what you have created now, we are in our 4th iteration of the software. Would you be interested to become an ambassador of ISSIP?" So my question was, "What do you expect from me?" And the answer was, ISSIP would be interested in getting connected with networks activities that SMRT.BIO is doing in Europe and Africa. And I'm more than happy to share that. I'm a big believer of building ecosystems. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Giving first. Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that touched up in my next questions as well. Like my next question for you was more like about how you would like to get involved in ISSIP activities, because a lot of folks within the ISSIP community, they work at the intersection of industry and academia. And then also I myself, that aspect of the ISSIP drew me into this community because I've always been working at this intersection, and then I wanted to build connection and collaboration with those like-minded individuals. Frank, you come from strong industry background. You yourself an entrepreneur as well. But then also you're working with educational institutions as well. How would you like to get involved in ISSIP activities as an ambassador?
Sorry, in ISSIP, what?
ISSIP activities. How would you like to get involved in ISSIP activities? Because there are a
Oh,
lot
activities.
of
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
involved.
yeah. Well, for sure, there is one activity within ISSIP that is around AI, where I really would love to be involved in.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I've seen the whole list of activities that are being implemented through ISSIP. And I think we have to add one line item to it, that is talent development on that list as well. I think that would make sense. And I think we can add value to ISSIP in that area. There is an element that I would like to broadcast back to ISSIP, Cecilia, and that is the importance of Africa. Not to say, let's do some social work. Let's bring it down to very simple messages. And the basic message here is there are 1.3 billion people living in Africa, 265 million students. We need them. When we are moving in the direction of services industry, the digital platforms. It's becoming more and more obvious to me when I'm doing my work in Africa, where I'm spending a considerable amount of my time. They have great ideas. It is young people. And it's at a volume that is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. So I would love to bring ISSIP more into Africa than what is happening today. I see that as a task. Yeah. Yeah, I see that as an important task.
Definitely, yeah, Frank, I think like bridging the gap, because I think like more involvement with the continent that has not yet been involved in ISA activities so far. I think that would be very, very valuable to the community as well, you know.
Yeah, and I have the strong impression when we would have that possibility to put Africa on the ISIP map.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That we need to create something similar at what has been done with AI, and to start inviting universities from Africa back to ISIP and create well what we call now a COIL, Cooperative Open International Learning. Would it be possible to create COILs, networks of people? Get people from Africa working together with people from the US, from Canada, from Europe, from Asia. Can we do that? And the answer is yes, of course we can do that. Should we do it? We should. We definitely should. Yeah. And today it's 1.3 billion people, wait for 25 years, and it is 2.5, 2.6 billion people. This is double the size of India. This is double the size of China.
Yeah.
It is huge. Yeah.
It is. And the vast opportunities, you know, untapped opportunities, right? And then, you know, we should be able to help those folks to leverage those opportunities as well. So
Exactly.
yeah, so before we close this interview, I mean, I definitely want to have a follow-up chat with you because I'm very interested in the HR tech solutions you've mentioned, because that really struck me about my past job. Because I was working with it, like, you know, designing the training materials for our customers as well, like during our onboarding process. And I think that's a lot of, you know, relevance, you know, that we can actually talk about. But today, like before we close the call, is there anything you would like to share with the ISAP community? Like anything like collaboration opportunity that you were thinking of or anything?
Yeah, there is an important topic that I would like to share with you, and it is especially talking about course development, because we have learned something over the last 2-3 years, especially with the latest AI tech. And it is the following. It's great to develop courseware, but wouldn't it be great to create a course specifically for me or specifically for you, so that we start developing hyper personalized learning. We have a research activity in that area. We're going to bring that research to the market in the fall, winter of this year, where people have the possibility to say, I have a skills gap in XYZ. This is being generated through SMRT.BIO, that is being prompted into AI, and AI is creating a personal course for me. Click the button, here is the course. How much does it cost? 0.
I think.
Would that be something? Would that be something? And I have the strong impression, Cecilia, that from a socio-economic impact perspective, this is something we have to develop at a global level. I would love to work with ISSIP and the universities you have on this topic, coming in from a US perspective, but really from a global perspective. We are building that network right now in Africa and Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to share with you before we close the call is also that, we had a sessions around the T-shaped professional, so T-score, my T-score. And then I think
Yeah.
I'm very curious to learn about whether, depending on the T-score, whether we can get our personalized learning modules. So that certain aspects of my T-shaped T-score is a low, whereas the other aspects is a high. How can I actually make it balanced so that I can improve my T-score?
Yeah.
I think it would be very interesting actually if I can.
Well, that is a topic I would love to discuss separately with you, because my impression is it's great to have a score, but how do you operationalize the result?
Absolutely.
And
That's
that
what I'm interested
operationalizing is where it started with SMRT.BIO.
in.
So we went back based on first principles. What do we need to come to that operational moment as quickly as possible? How can we do that? Well, I can show that with you instantly, and it's
Be very
mind-boggling.
interesting. I mean, like a lot of folks are actually working around the MIT score, the area. So I think it would be nice to actually bring everyone together and then have some another
Yeah,
conversation
absolutely. Yeah,
or
yeah.
panel discussion. That would be great too. So awesome. Thank you so much, Frank, for joining us today. And then thanks everyone for tuning in. And then we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
It's a real honor. Thank you so much. Thanks for the time. Bye-bye.